History remembers Napoleon, Patton, MacArthur. But what about the generals who stood one decision away from ruling empires? One battle from eternal glory? One betrayal from becoming legends? Tonight, we uncover 3 military geniuses who nearly changed the course of human civilization. Their names erased, their legacies buried, their stories forgotten in the shadows of every great empire. Brilliant tacticians operated behind closed doors. Men who commanded armies of hundreds of thousands. Who won impossible battles. Who stood inches from absolute power. But history is written by victors. And sometimes, the greatest military minds never got to write their final chapter. These are their stories. Stories of ambition, betrayal, and the razor-thin line between triumph and oblivion. 532 AD. The Byzantine Empire teeters on collapse. Emperor Justinian faces rebellion in his own capital. Then enters Belisarius, Rome's last great general. With just 3,000 soldiers, Belisarius reconquers North Africa from the Vandals. With 5,000, he seizes Italy from the Goths. He restores the Roman Empire to its ancient glory. His enemies whisper his name in terror. His men would die for him. Constantinople erupts in celebration as he returns. Victory after victory, unstoppable. But here's the shocking truth. Justinian fears him. A general this powerful could take the throne with a single command. So Justinian strips him of his army, accuses him of conspiracy, imprisons him. Legend says Belisarius died blind and begging on the streets of the empire he saved. The man who almost ruled the Roman world, reduced to nothing by the emperor he served. One decision, one moment of ambition, and Belisarius would have been emperor. Instead, history barely remembers his name. Beijing, 1644. The Ming dynasty collapses under peasant rebellion. China descends into chaos. At the Great Wall, General Wu Sangui commands the empire's last functional army. Wu stands at history's crossroads. Behind him, the rebel army that just captured Beijing. Before him, the Manchu forces of the Qing dynasty. In his hands, the military power to decide China's future. The rebels execute Wu's father, seize his beloved concubine. Wu makes his choice. He opens the gates of the Great Wall. Wu allies with the Manchus. Together, they crush the rebellion. The Qing dynasty seizes power over all China. They would rule for 268 years. But here's what historians hide. Wu Sangui had a third option. His army was strong enough to take Beijing himself, to declare himself emperor, to establish his own dynasty. Why didn't he? Some say loyalty, others say fear, but documents reveal the truth. Wu hesitated. Just 48 hours. That hesitation cost him everything. The Qing emperors reward Wu with vast territories, but they never trust him. 30 years later, when Wu finally rebels and declares himself emperor, it's too late. He dies broken, his rebellion crushed. Wu Sangui had 2 days to become emperor of China. 2 days that would haunt him for 3 decades. The man who opened the gate to a dynasty, but couldn't walk through it himself. France, 1940. The German blitzkrieg tears across Europe. Leading this mechanized revolution, Heinz Guderian, the father of modern tank warfare. Guderian doesn't just win battles. He reinvents war itself. His panzer divisions move faster than any army in history. France falls in 6 weeks. Poland in 28 days. The Soviet Union crumbles before him. Hitler calls him a genius. But Guderian sees what Hitler cannot. Germany is losing. The two-front war is suicide. The Holocaust is draining resources. The Führer's strategic decisions are madness. By 1944, Guderian is chief of the general staff. He controls Wehrmacht ground forces. Other generals whisper, remove Hitler. Guderian could negotiate peace with the Allies, save Germany from total destruction. The July 20th bomb plot nearly succeeds. Hitler survives by minutes. The conspirators are executed. But here's the classified truth. Guderian knew. Multiple sources place him in discussions with the plotters. So why didn't he join them? Why didn't this brilliant strategist act when Germany's fate hung in the balance? Guderian later claimed professional duty. He was a soldier, not a politician. But private letters reveal something darker: ambition. If the plot failed, joining meant death. If it succeeded, he'd be just another general. By staying neutral, he gambled on surviving either outcome. His calculation failed. Germany was annihilated. Millions died. And Guderian survived to write his memoirs, justifying his silence as the Third Reich burned. The man who could have stopped Hitler chose survival over salvation. 3 generals. 3 empires. 3 moments where history balanced on a knife's edge. Belisarius had the loyalty of Rome's legions. Wu Sangui controlled the gates to China. Guderian held Germany's military power. Each stood one decision away from ruling their world. But that's the secret history doesn't teach. Seizing power requires more than military genius. It requires ruthlessness. It requires the willingness to betray, to kill, to destroy everything you've sworn to protect. These men won every battle, but they lost the only war that mattered, the war within themselves. Today, tourists photograph Napoleon's tomb. Students memorize Patton's quotes, but Belisarius's grave lies unmarked. Wu Sangui's tomb was destroyed by the dynasty he helped create. Guderian's legacy remains forever tainted by the regime he served. They were brilliant tacticians, fearless warriors, masters of strategy, but they hesitated when history called their names, and so they remain forgotten. Shadows in the margins of history books, footnotes to empires they could have ruled. Because in the end, almost ruling history means being erased by it. How many other generals are lost to time? How many missed their moment? How many ghosts of empire still whisper, "I almost ruled the world"? Their names are forgotten, but their warning echoes through the centuries. Long pause. Hesitation has ended more empires than any sword.